moving to Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill in North Carolina. Why are they doing that? It has to be because of affordability. Looking to make a move, looking to get in homeownership, can't afford to buy where you are? Let's talk about it right here, right now on The Power is Now Real Estate News. Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Power is Now Real Estate News. My name is Eric Frazier. Today, we're going to be spotlighting North Carolina. You know, real estate is at the top of mind of every single person. I mean, if you're not thinking about your rent going up, you're thinking about how much your home is worth and should you sell it, or you're thinking about how I can get into a home. Well, the Power is Now Real Estate News is all about providing you information from the very boots on the ground. And these are real estate brokers and agents who live there, work there, know the market, and is going to provide us the kind of intel we need to make decisions in buying or selling real estate. With us today is Sheryl Merritt, and she's a broker out of North Carolina. She's with us today to talk about the market. And Sheryl, welcome to The Power is Now Real Estate News.
Thanks so much, Eric. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Sheryl, tell us about your company. First, you are in North Carolina. How long have you been there? What's the name of your company? And, you know, we might as well drop a telephone number so people can reach out to talk with you.
Absolutely. So I've been in the real estate industry for 30 years. I've had my company, New Legacy Realty, for 20. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary. Very excited for that milestone. And we serve the greater Raleigh area, which includes Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, and actually the entire state. As you know, Eric, when you have a real estate license, it's a state license. So we definitely take advantage of that.
Well, you know, how can they reach you? Because you've been there so long. I know you know everybody.
Yeah, my sister accuses me of knowing everybody. But yes, they can reach me a variety of ways. My phone number is 919-633-1711. Of course, our website is www.newlegacyrealty.com. And then you can reach us on all platforms, you know, IG, Facebook, and YouTube, and it's New Legacy Realty.
Well, thank you for providing the information, and I'm looking forward to getting into what's happening in your local market. But before we go there, we have a tradition on this show where we ask every guest the power question, and that is, what does the phrase "the power is now"? What does it mean to you as being a real estate broker and agent in your community?
I love that question, Eric. And, you know, not to sound too cliche-ish, but what it means to me is that the opportunity for you to do whatever it is that you need to do is present every day. Each and every day, you have the opportunity to be great, to do things, to make a mark, and to make an impact. So that's what the power of now means to me.
You know, you're so right. Every day, you have the opportunity to start all over, right? I mean, every day is a brand new day. And so if you didn't get it done yesterday, you can do it, you can do it today. And the truth is, there's no really yesterday. There's only today.
Yeah, there's only today. I agree 100%. And as they say, tomorrow's not promised. So why not? Why put off tomorrow what you can do today? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into your market. Tell us your what area do you primarily focus in, and what's been the general theme here in North Carolina? I mean, is it a buyer's market, a seller's market in your particular market area? And if you could, for those who are listening or watching, you know, kind of define your market area that you're speaking to.
Absolutely. So I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is the capital of North Carolina. The county that I sit in is called Wake County. It includes the city of Raleigh, and then we have 12 municipalities around that city. So it's a very large county with 13 different cities. But in addition to Wake County, you know, our broader area is about 5 counties, which are, you know, Raleigh, you know, the Wake County, Durham, Johnson County, Franklin, and Chatham County. So pretty big area that we cover. You know, as a real estate broker, you know, we travel. We don't mind traveling between different areas. And so I say, on average, I cover about a 75-mile radius around the city of Raleigh, as far as my primary market area. And as far as what's happening in the market, we've pretty much been over these last couple of years, we've been a seller's market, to be honest with you. Numbers have been down across the area. We are not seeing as many existing home sales as we have, as we did in 2021, 2020. And what's basically been carrying the market is new construction, to be honest with you. We have a lot of new construction, a lot of builders building communities and neighborhoods around. And so that's pretty much what's been carrying the market, because a lot of sellers are not willing to sell because they don't know where they're going. And also because the buyer pool just hasn't been as great as it's been in the past, because, buyers are tending to sit on the fence, hoping that interest rates will go down. And, we have probably seen a downtick over the last couple of weeks, but that's not enough to really move the buyers, to come back into the market. With regard to the builders, they've been offering a lot of great incentives. They're offering, 4.99% interest rates a lot of times. They're offering, $20,000 towards closing costs. So they're offering a lot of incentives to get the buyers to come in and purchase from them. And that's been great to see, because that does give people options, since existing homes are not available. We do, however, still see, if you do have an existing home on the market, a lot more price cuts. And, because, we have aspirational pricing with sellers a lot of the times. They want to try to get the biggest bang for their buck, but some buyers are just not willing to pay that premium right now. And so they're having to cut their pricing. And then we've also seen a lot of expireds where people are just waiting to put their homes back on the market when the spring comes back.
Cheryl, I love it how you described a high price house as aspirational.
Yes, yes.
That
That's
that's
what we call
exactly
it,
what it is.
aspirational. Yes.
Aspirational. I mean, we just can't tell a seller, your house is just too high.
It
It's just
gets
not
tough.
going to
Those
happen.
conversations can be kind of tough. Yeah, it can be
Yes,
tough. Yes.
yes. Now, builders are so supporting the market, but how does that help real estate agents? I mean, do they cooperate with you? And do you recommend an agent or a buyer go in and see the builder without representation?
So some of them are cooperating with us. Over the years, last couple of years, we have seen, where some builders have cut the pricing or the compensation that they're willing to pay a buyer's agent. I've seen some as low as a flat fee of $2,500. I've seen some where they're offering, 2%, 2.5%. So it ranges. And, definitely we do not recommend buyers go into a new construction community without a buyer's agent. We know that that agent on site is representing the seller and not the buyer. So, we definitely recommend and try to educate our buyers that if you do want to walk into one, definitely have a buyer's agency agreement, and let the on-site agent know who you're working with so that they can put them on the information card, along with your information.
Well, it's important that buyers understand this is not just about the money, that most
Mhm.
buyers are smart enough to know that they need help in buying a house. I mean, if you're buying a house for the first time, especially, the contracts are just getting longer, and builder contracts, well, it's a whole nother animal, right?
A whole nother animal, absolutely. And that's the key right there, what you said. It's educating the buyers, letting them know, as a buyer's agent, you do represent them. You're there, to assist them throughout the process. Read the dot, to read the builder's contract even before getting them to sign it, and go through it, because they listen. The last one I did was 35 pages. 35 pages. And just to think, if a buyer was to go in there by themselves just to go through that, I can't imagine. So yes, definitely educating them on, the benefits of using a buyer's agent. And like you said, it's not just about the money, it's about the expertise that we bring to the table. This is what we do every day. And a first time home buyer is definitely at a major disadvantage if they've not done this before. But I've also found, Eric, a lot of times, if we've got a seller who's been in their house for 10, 15 years and they're buying again for the first time, they too need to be re-educated on the process, because it's been so long since they purchased a home. So yeah, it's a constant education process for both buyers and sellers as they move through this transaction with real estate.
Well, everybody becomes a first-time home buyer after you've been in your home, and it's not your primary profession, buying and selling real estate. I would say
Yes,
after about 2 or 3 years, because laws
agreed.
are changing, markets are changing, and you really need an expert. You really need an expert to guide you and to protect your interests. And now you mentioned that the sellers, new construction is supporting the market, and that's really only because sellers on resales are kind of refusing to identify what's happening in the market, right? I mean, you got builders providing big discounts and then buying down interest rates, which are in the mid sixes, folks, to the fours. That should be the biggest signpost to resellers that, hey, the market is changing. You need to do something.
Yeah, I think that's a excellent point that the builders are given such great incentives, and it is an ideal time for sellers to go ahead and try to sell because the market is there. And I think that's one of the issues. A lot of times sellers like, I don't know where I'm going to move to. Where am I? If I sell my house, where am I going to go? And one of the things that I try to do is to I help them identify their next move before they even put their house on the market, because to me that gives them a little bit more confidence in selling their property. But yes, the builders have tremendous opportunities to help these sellers sell their house because they can give them another place to move to. But then you've got the other sellers who don't want new construction. And I think too, just because of the economy, a lot of families are now having to have, multi-generational housing. So it's not just the parents there, see also the adult children who are living with them. And so, it's like, okay, well, we'll just stay in our house. Because you may remember, Eric, maybe 10 years ago or so, the average time that people stayed in a house was 7 to 10 years. That has stretched out since the pandemic to 15, 20, and 25 years. So I think all those things combined are, kind of what's stalling the market or keeping it where we are, where we're not seeing as much movement with these sellers getting off the fence.
Now, I read in the news that from Zillow, they're saying that in Raleigh, there's a significant downturn. About 67% of the properties are selling for much less than they were a year ago compared to the nation, which is about 53% of the properties. Now, I don't know if that's true, but you're there. You would be able to kind of make sense of that number for us.
Yeah, I have seen where, and this is a combination of both the existing homes on the market as well as builder new construction. Builders are reducing the prices of their houses as well, right? Because they're sitting longer. And of course, if they can't sell them, they're going to reduce the price. Same thing with existing homes. We're seeing that, if you've been on the market 60, 90 days, you may then start seeing some price reductions. And so overall, when you look at the entire market, we're seeing about 33 to 40% of homes being where the price reductions are taking place. 33 to 40% are seeing price reductions. So I think that's where you see that number, where that number's coming from the report that Zillow is providing. I would say, however, in Wake County, we get out a market update every month with our county that talks about what the median home price is. So even though we're seeing, a decline in the number of in the pricing, we're still seeing an uptick as far as in November, the average price or median price of a home sold in Wake County was $470,000, which was up $5,000 from the October number. So you got this, talk about volatility in the market. You got this up, down kind of thing that we see going on. And I think, again, it's attributed to a variety of factors, sellers holding on, builders offering incentives, having to reduce prices. It's just a combination of all those things.
So where's the real opportunity for maybe a first-time home buyer? If prices are softening, and sellers are making concessions, builders are making concessions for a first-time home buyer with a kind of, we'll call it a skinny budget here. Where's the real opportunities? Because I'm thinking if the median price for a home is 470, I'm thinking condos, townhomes.
So that is one opportunity. Although what we're seeing, Eric, is our average townhome price is over $350,000, especially with new construction. So what we are seeing is they are having to go outside of our market area. So I mentioned the general market of Raleigh, Durham, the Triangle. So if you want to find affordability, a lot of times you're having to go to places like a little bit further east, Rocky Mount, Wilson, some counties further east, and then also some that are further west, like Greensboro, North Carolina, or Mebane or Graham, some of those outer suburbs, in order to get some type of affordability. But even with that, it's still a very limited pool of real estate that you can find in our area that's under $300,000.
Wow. Now, I'm out here in expensive California. So, $300,000 is a deal, is a deal. You might be able to get a garage for $300,000 out here. The prices really explain why, the headline news is that, what is it, 67 people a
67.
day are moving there? What's going on? I mean, that has to be the affordability as well as other economic activity. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so affordability is definitely one of them. We have a tremendous job opportunity here. We are a college area. We've got North Carolina State University, United UNC Chapel Hill, Duke University. We got St. Augustine's University, Charlotte University, Meredith. We've got a tremendous, this is a college community. If you watch college basketball, Eric, you've heard of Duke and Chapel Hill, I'm sure, right? So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
that's where we sit. We have all those, and then we just got a, like I said, a very we live, the Research Triangle is pretty much the Silicon Valley of the East. Okay, so you're familiar with Silicon Valley in California. Well, Research Triangle Park is the Silicon Valley of the East. And so that's what is driving so many people here. We've got a big biotech industry. We've got a tech industry. You've got the colleges and universities. We've got, the affordability of housing, and we've got just a tremendous amount of professionals, because I think, I won't quote the number, but a very large portion of our populations have a bachelor's degree or higher, right? So when you talk about the education, our community has a very large population of educated people, which is very attractive to businesses and corporations and things like that. So all those things combined, I think, is what's bringing and driving people. Not to mention our weather. Although it's 24 degrees here this morning, typically in our winter, you got an average of 45, 50 degrees, and we've got really nice summers as well, and the beaches and the mountains. So all those things together, I think, is what kind of brings people to North Carolina.
Well, for those who are outdoor enthusiasts who like four seasons a year, go anywhere but California. Because we're summer all the time. I mean, it's December and I think it's about 80 degrees right now.
Oh my goodness.
So but some people like that. And in fact, I'm really just encouraged from an investment standpoint what an opportunity it is to buy there at that price point and to have all that economic activity with the combination of the Silicon Valley there, as well as all the schools, which is an economic force in and of itself. And so buying investment property, I mean, do you work with investors and what are you hearing that investors are doing in your market?
Yeah, so I don't work with a lot of investors. I am a member of our real estate investment association, because I do kind of like to keep my pulse on what's going on. Um, you know, so there's a tremendous amount of investment here. Uh, I have several of my colleagues who specialize in working with investors. It's one of the things that we have seen here, and you've probably seen in some other parts of the country, is where some of these larger institutional investors have purchased a tremendous amount of real estate in this market and have made those family homes available for rentals. And so that's another challenge that we have to face, Eric, when we're talking about ability and first time home buyers. Unfortunately, a lot of times those affordable properties are being purchased by investors or institutional investors, which makes it a little bit more difficult for first-time home buyers to kind of get in on those types of housing.
Well, that's a challenge everywhere. You know, the hedge funds, institutional investors are just, private groups are taking advantage of opportunities that should go to first-time home buyers. But the only, type of property where there are set-asides for first-time home buyers and maybe low to moderate income buyers would be HUD homes. And do you sell HUD listings out in North Carolina?
We do. And it's funny you asked that question because I used to love to sell HUD homes. I was on the list. I was one of the HUD approved, real estate brokers. I don't think I've been on their list for a minute now, but yeah. But and what happened though, Eric, is after or during the pandemic, we saw a tremendous drop in the number of HUD foreclosures in our market. Even now, I think it's a very limited number. Every now and then, I might go on the HUD Home Store website to see what's out there, but it almost literally dried up during the pandemic. We had just such a robust market, just dealing with existing and new construction during that pandemic and right shortly thereafter. And so, but yeah, I've sold HUD homes. I love HUD homes. I think it's a great opportunity, but we've just not seen a lot of those available in our market over these last couple of years.
Cheryl, this has really been informative, and I really appreciate your time today to provide us some intel on the Power is Now real estate news. I have a couple more questions before I let you go, and this is really about the future. As you know, we're headed towards the end of 2025 into a brand new year, and many people are trying to decide what they should do. And they see nothing but headwinds. You know, we have the economy, and there's a lot happening in terms of jobs and corporations laying off people by the thousands. We have Congress and the Affordable Care Act, which may not get extended, and more pressure financially on families just to have health care. And then we just have tariffs and overall cost of increase in living with inflation driving food prices. And so anyone, looking at making a move in 2026 in real estate, they're faced with all of these, challenges. First, what do you see the market? Where do you see the market in 2026 in terms of price? Do you see further price reductions and that things slowing down more, or do you see that things could pick up? And then do you see interest rates, really changing? Because even the Fed, having met a couple times now, lowering rates, we've seen no real movement in 30-year fixed rates.
Yeah, so I love the way you pull together all those things that are happening right now, and it's true. Everything you named is what people are talking about at the kitchen table. And one of the things that we try to do is, I think I'm a member of NAREB, and one of the things we try to do is we try to create our own economy. We're not going to allow the broader economy to dictate our economy, right? And so with that, one of the things that I did recently is I participated in the Developers Academy, and I graduated from the Developers Academy in August. And the goal is to put developers on the ground to create housing. And so that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on in 2026 is to help more people. I've got clients who are, well, who I call land rich. They own plenty of land, plenty of lots in this area, and they don't know what to do with it. So one of the things that I want to do is be one of those connectors to help them determine what it is that they can do with their land and build something, because we got way too many people who need housing, and people, we can use that land to build those housing for those people. The second part of your question regarding how I see 2026 with the interest rates. I think to your point, we need to educate people that even if the interest rates don't go down, you still have the opportunity to purchase real estate. And we just have to work with them to get them where it is that they need to be and put them in the position to be able to do so. I work with a tremendous amount of professional lenders who work with down payment assistance and all kind of programs that are helpful, to people who may need some assistance in that area. So that's one of the things we're always doing, communicating and telling people about down payment assistance programs and other programs that might be able to help them with affordability. So that's kind of where I see things. We're going to create our own economy. We're not going to let what's going on in the CNN and ABC headlines dictate to us what our own local economy is going to look like. We're going to play a role in that and, be able to be developers and put some stuff on the ground with the community and in the community that we serve.
Sure, I love that. Wow, this is why I love the Power is Now Real Estate News, because it's not about, just the headlines, creating fear and anxiety, but it's understanding what you can do about the headlines that are creating fear and anxiety. In spite of higher interest rates, you can still buy. You can still buy, right? And if interest rates stay the same, yet the market is softening, that means there's opportunity to reduce cost and create opportunities or structure deals differently. There's always a solution, right?
Absolutely. I agree. Yes, always.
Well, thank you for joining us today on the Power is Now Real Estate News. I want to give you the final word and also an opportunity for those listening to the podcast to state your telephone number and email address so people can reach out to you, and your website. And for those of you who are watching, well, you can see it on the screen. But what is the final word from Sheryl Merritt today in regard to real estate in North Carolina?
Well, my final word is Raleigh and the North Carolina market. It's a great place to live. We love our area. I would tell anybody if there's a place that I would want to be, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And North Carolina is a great place to call home. My phone number is 919-633-1711. You can always reach me at my website, www.newlegacyrealty.com. And we're across all social media platforms at New Legacy Realty. And that's spelled NEWLEGACYREALTY, New Legacy Realty. Thanks so much, Eric. I appreciate the opportunity this afternoon to talk a little bit about my area of North Carolina.
Thank you, Sheryl. And folks, continue to tune in right here at The Power is Now. Go to our website, become a member of The Power is Now. And as a member, you could be in the room, actually meeting Sheryl, talking to her, asking questions as we record our shows, our news segments, and other television shows. You can see the entire list of shows we produce here on The Power is Now. And you can also download The Power is Now TV on your mobile device. Also, you can go watch it on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, even any streaming platform. And if you listen to podcasts, please find us on the Power on any podcast platform under the Power is Now TV podcast. So we are available, and hopefully you'll take advantage of the great information from experts, true experts. Sheryl has been in the business a long time, lives there. So I would highly recommend you take her advice and you reach out to her to learn more about how you can make a move in real estate in North Carolina. Well, folks, remember that we are at our best and we maximize our success when we act now. The power is now. Thank you for watching.
The Power is Now magazines are the leading resource for real estate agents, mortgage bankers, entrepreneurs, and small home ownership businesses, providing leaders with business strategy information, resources, and tools through PIN, real estate, programming guide magazines. Stay up to the minute with real estate news and information from industry experts. ThePowerisNow.com. ThePowerisNow.com.